What is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast. We're going to be doing a prediction show all about Mario Kart World. So, as I let people roll in here, I'm going to run the intro and we'll kick this thing off. Here we go. All right. Well, welcome to another episode of NPC. It's so good to be back. It's so good to be chatting about Mario Kart World and the direct that's going to be happening first thing tomorrow morning. I see Nady Nay is here. What's up, baby? Good to see you. We got other people rolling in as well. So really excited. We got some Mario Kart World gameplay going on screen as well from the treehouse here. And I gotta say, I've I've watched this a few times. Nady Nay says, "Are we talking about that overpriced trash?" Oh boy. Uh I don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently Nintendo has already turned off comments for the Mario Kart World Direct. So there'll be no comment section. I'm assuming at least the live comments and maybe comments in general on the Mario Kart World Direct tomorrow morning. So, um, 15 minutes of information, and I know some people are like as soon as they saw that time, they immediately got like a bit negative. Super Mario Brothers Wonder was a 15-minute direct, and that was more than enough time to show off that game. Now, obviously, it's not as big of a title as Mario Kart World is, but if you think they've already shown us kind of a lot of the surface level stuff, so really they just get to dig in deep for these 15 minutes, and this is where we get to guess what it's gonna be. So as more and more people roll in, I will continue asking like what you guys think we're gonna see. I'm gonna kind of just kick this thing off. Like I'm I am of the mind that there is going to be a big single player aspect to this game tied to free roam. And we've already seen things like coins out in the wild that people have picked up, like larger coins, like somebody picked up a peach coin at one of the events and it didn't do anything. The other thing that we have seen is like the boat that you can get into. We've seen video of Birdo driving into the back of the semi truck, and it looks like you kind of just go really fast and you're kind of invincible. And there's also a helicopter in the background on one of the trailers that you can see. Toadette is she's driving by, and in the background there's this helicopter. And so this game is already kind of like land, sea, and air as it is with the carts. So what do these larger items mean? Now, maybe they're just used for traversing between stages, right? And you get a little boost, you get to be invincible, and you're just going like right here, what we're watching. Maybe this is one of those sections where like the semi truck would come in handy because you get some extra speed. You're just kind of doing this long straightaway while you're making your way to the next track. And you know, that may be all that's there. But as we get through this footage here, and I mean, as you can see right there, there was a large enemy on screen. And Donkey Kong, a robotic Donkey Kong, is also used at the on the fourth race of this Grand Prix as well. And I think it's a hint, honestly. I think it is a hint that there are going to be some kind of boss fights in this game. Now, I don't mind like getting a little bit crazy and taking things maybe a little bit to left field. What I would love is to see community-based boss fights meaning we all get together and we have to take out a giant Donkey Kong or imposter Bowser like we saw in Mario Party Jamboree. I would love something like that. I think it would be a lot of fun. They could be, and again, this is kind of one of my predictions, is that we're going to see community events happen similar to Splatfest, right? And so these don't have to just be like races. They've opened up this game to it's Mario Kart World, right? It's not. I think we can expect a bit more from this game, and maybe they will get very, very Nintendo with it, if you will. Now, any of this stuff that I'm mentioning is just stuff that I hope is there on top of what we've already seen, right? We've already seen the Grand Prix they're interesting. They're you're driving between races and then kind of doing one lap. So, little bit different. I've heard there's also a traditional Grand Prix where you just do 3 laps on each track, which that's going to be fantastic, especially when it comes to doing time trials and whatnot, because that's what we're we just want we want to see things how they were while also seeing the game evolve. And so you don't want to change it up too much. Remember, this game is Nintendo's baby. All right? Like, they love Mario games, they love Zelda games, Pokemon games, they're great. Nothing has sold like Mario Kart this last generation. And so I have high expectations. I have very high expectations, not only because it's Mario Kart, but because of the price tag as well. And so we can get into more of that later. Nady Nay says, looking for a mobile tour type combo system. I think it would be perfect with the grinding and wall jumps. So if I'm understanding correctly, like almost like a kind of like a Tony Hawk thing, where like your multiplier goes up as you do more tricks, and maybe it increases your boost or something along those lines. We just saw on screen there a piranha plant in the back of a pickup truck. Like, this game is doing some things we have never seen before, which I love, and I have a feeling we're going to continue to be surprised by. Right, like right now on screen, Mario just ate the cheeseburger, and now he's in the touring outfit, which is like it looks like almost like a leather jacket with a blue shell on the back, and his hair, he doesn't have his hat on, his hair's a little bit messy. Like, I'm here for it. I love it. I think it's amazing. And I think we have a lot to look forward to, honestly, when it comes to this game. I mean, Knockout Tour alone is such a great addition. And so that, just the added gameplay there of like something different, kind of like that F-Zero 99 style gameplay. So good. And again, the way they seem to be building these worlds, they can all kind of tie together. I think it's so much so good. So, Nate says, yeah, Mario Kart Tour was a point type system too. So you finish with the highest points. You get more points if you were in first place on the first lap. Oh, I see. Yeah, there's some good stuff there. Gaming Lover says, how are you feeling about the drifting style of the game? The drifting's a little bit tough to read right now because for the most part, we've only seen 100cc. And I think outside of Treehouse, everybody else has been using the assists. So like, I watched this relatively close. Like, he's at a super mini turbo right now, and then I think the same thing happens while you're grinding. Like, I think the longer you grind, you build up different types of turbos. I'm assuming. So he's at just the mini turbo right now. If it looked like it switched to a super at the last second, but yeah, there's a super mini turbo. So I'm assuming as you grind, it's no different than if you are drifting. And the longer you do it, the better the boost you build. Now, Is soft drifting back in this game? We don't know yet. And I'm confident that this game is going to very much have a similar feel as 8 Deluxe. And I think even if it veers a little away from that, I don't think we're going to have any issue getting used to it very quickly. Like, and based on, like, if you guys catch the episode of The Dirt that I did where I talked to Thunderstash Gaming, how he went hands on, he didn't really say anything about the game feeling too different than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And I really think that there are definite things that they nailed with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that there's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And so I think that's I think the animations are a bit different, and so I think it gives the appearance that, like, maybe the game is going to feel a little bit different, but I don't think that is the case. I think we're going to be right at home with this game. And I think what I love the most about the drifting and the grinding is that it's going to put a skill gap there, right? Like, if you want to be boosting as often as possible, like if you look at the competitive scene, or people that are really sweating in Mario Kart, they're drifting on straightaways so that they can get those boosts along the way. There are different techniques, like, depending on the corner. In some cases, it's faster to get 2 mini turbos than it is to drift all the way up to the ultra mini turbo. And so having the grinding be a part of this game now, and trying to decide, like, okay, do I take the most inside edge and just focus on my drift? Is that the most inside edge going to be the where I do end up grinding? Do I want to jump off the wall right here? Like, there's gonna be so much that we have to learn, and it gets me super excited about, like, time trials and just seeing how people are going to tackle this game. I'm very curious, kind of based on the way that they treated Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, they continued fine tuning and balancing that game for a very long time. I don't think this will be any different. I'm curious what the community finds, right? I'm curious what the community finds, because, like, in the first Mario Kart 8, there was a technique called fire hopping. And what that meant is, like, when you had a turbo of any kind, mini turbo, a mushroom, whatever the case, if there were flames coming out of your exhaust, you wanted to be jumping, because when you were in the air, you got just a small little boost. And so fire hopping became the thing to get the best time. You're talking about like milliseconds, but still, when it came to the time trials, or even just really wanting to sweat, that was a way that people did that. So I'm curious what's going to be found in this game. Right. And we've also seen some really cool stuff, like in Paul Gale's hands-on experience. Somebody threw the blue shell while he was in the water, and the blue shell caused waves that then everybody else could, like, trick boost off of. So is there going to be a way to trigger waves, like, even in time trials, that's going to then give you the chance to get more trick boosts so that you can get out ahead of the time? Again, pure speculation at this point, and just so excited to start figuring this stuff out as a community. So I see a handful more people have jumped in. If you guys got any predictions about what you think is going to be seen at the Mario Kart World Direct tomorrow, make sure to put them in the chat, and we will talk about them. So Nate says, I feel like there has to be something for the grinding when you can just drift. And I'm kind of with you. I think there's a clip here at the beginning. Let me take it back here so we can kind of watch. And it's the end of this race right here. So what you're going to notice is that right at the end near the finish line, technically, I believe, yeah, you would be it would be faster right now to finish the way he does by drifting right there and getting a boost. And so, yeah, maybe you could drift into that straightaway, but it's probably going to be a little more difficult to pull off. Whereas, like in those situations, you might have instances where like you can drift around the corner, build up your mini turbo up to like even an ultra mini turbo, right, where it gets into the pink or purple flames. But it might be quicker to jump to the rail because I think you'll use your turbo as you jump, right? So it might be faster to use the mini turbo, get to the rail, grind, jump back off, get back into your drift. Like that's what's going to be so exciting about like trying to figure this out. And I have a feeling there's going to be instances where like essentially the speed running community is going to be, focused on the time trials aspect. And I think we're going to see some crazy times and crazy laps where, there could be instances where like people are drifting for the majority of the race and hitting their mini turbos and bouncing in and off of grinding rails and stuff. And I like that's one of those aspects that just gets me really, really excited. And just kind of seeing what what's going to come of it. Yeah, and that is the other thing too, is like it gives some style points. And there's no question there, like jumping up and grinding and then hitting the wall. I think it is going to lead to a bit of a skill gap if you don't take the time to really learn the mechanics of the grinding and bouncing off the walls and that kind of stuff. Like I think it will really begin to separate people. And so I will say this: if it's easy enough to do and everybody can pull it off, it's going to be fantastic. But what I've noticed in the Switch's lifespan is we've seen games like Mario Tennis Aces, Strikers, and even Super Rush to a small extent become a little bit more difficult and have that skill gap. And it ended up turning a lot of people off. If you remember, Aces essentially got a nerf that leveled the playing field because it was kind of difficult to pull off some of those moves. And if you did it, you could really dominate. But if you didn't have a good feel for it, it kind of made the game not as fun. So what I'm hoping is that like grinding and stuff, it looks like it's relatively easy to pull off. But I'm hoping there may be some areas where it's like, and especially when it comes to time trials where every second counts, where it's like, go from the drift to the grind, to the wall ride, back to the grind, drop back down into the drift, build it up to the ultra miniature, whatever the case may be. Like stuff that's not going to necessarily be super, super easy, but not too difficult if you put the time in, right? If that's something important to you. And when it comes to time trials, like I'm planning on doing some speed running and trying to see, if I can work towards getting my name on some of these leaderboards. Like it's something I want to. I'm planning on putting plenty of time into time trials for that very reason. Because in the last game, I didn't want to use the meta. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it looked. And so this time around, especially as the game is brand new, I'm gonna be aiming for those. I'll probably spend more time doing time trials than anything else when the game first launches, depending on what's available. Right? If there is some robust single player, and there's also going to be plenty of stuff to unlock, well, that might change things up a bit. So, and I speaking of unlockables, I'm expecting there to be plenty to unlock. Like we just saw, if you're watching the video, you just saw Mario eat the burger and then um, get that touring outfit that we were talking about earlier. My hope is that there are, you know, X number of costumes that each character has. And then as you race and every time you eat a burger, you then unlock that costume so you can come back to it. Right? Like I'm wearing my Mario Kart shirt that Mario is essentially wearing the outfit, the race outfit that I'm planning on using in game, which is like a Famicom um like like racing suit, right? And in Mario Kart World, he's got his hat on backwards, and I love it. It's the same outfit that he had in Odyssey. You guys have probably heard me talk about it, and so I'm super stoked for it. The only time I've seen it is when Thunderstash unlocked it by eating the burger. But as we saw right there, like as he ate the burger, there was like a little like red exclamation point. That's almost always an indicator that that is something that's unlocked. So I'm not super worried about that being the case. I think that's going to be how it works as you well. That means if you want to unlock everybody's costumes, you've got to race as every character. And I assume that not, Mario and Peach and Luigi, the Toads, they're probably going to have more costumes than like the Goomba. I can't imagine the Goomba having too many different costumes, but I mean, you never know. It may have a lot. But it kind of gives you reason to then go and race as all these different characters. And that's something that like it may not be like super important to me to like have everybody's costume, but it gives you something to do, right? And then there's going to be people out there that they love like whatever customization is available. They're going to spend so much time racing as different characters and having a blast doing it. And so that's the one thing that like I'm the most excited for this game, or the most hopeful that there's gonna be something for everybody, right? Knockout Tour, like we mentioned, super, super great. Just the Grand Prix. And honestly, with 24 players, like I hope we can do online Grand Prix. I'm hoping that we can do like those large scale battles, if you will, against a large enemy. And so I'm hoping we see a lot when it comes to online, and that it just gives us so much to do. I'm hoping that as we're if you're racing online or you're racing in Grand Prix, you're always unlocking stuff. I mentioned it on that episode of The Dirt. Like, if you guys watch between races, Mario, who's being played by the Nintendo Treehouse guy, there's a little emblem next to his name, and it says "Never something for racing." It's really really tiny, so I can't make it out. But it looks like you're going to be able to have customization even to your banner. And so I'm anticipating some very Splatoon like customization options to not only like maybe your cart where you can put stickers and stuff all over it, but then also like your name like your name and the different tag that you might or different tags that you might use, and it looks like those little emblems as well. So like if you hit 10,000 mini turbos, to have like a wheel with blue flames coming off of it that you could use at that emblem, like that's a like a little bit of a badge of honor, right? When it comes to Mario Kart, doing that many mini turbos. So that kind of stuff is fantastic, and it gives us plenty to continue to grind for. I want to get a couple of the chats here. Nadine says, I know that I just need way more than roam the world freely and take pictures with friends as an extra selling point. I'm sure that there will be. I think so. And I've seen people online also talking about the fact that like the first thing I'm doing is playing hide and seek with my friends. And so like that may be something that's already built into the game. that like there's a hide and seek mode where everybody gets a ghost and then takes off and goes and finds a hiding spot, and then the person that's it has to locate them, and maybe there's a timer or something. Obviously, like just normal hide and seek would be a little bit probably boring. Maybe it's more of a team hide and seek or whatever the case may be. But like, I I I would love to see Nintendo really just lean into all these aspects. Like, give us a reason um to get into free roam. Is I think what Nate is saying, and I'm saying it too. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of a novelty about jumping in and racing with friends, but like and doing free roam with friends, taking some pictures. But that novelty's not going to last long. I want to see. I want reasons to stay in there. So I do want to point out we just watched that section of track where it was like um they were bouncing between uh they were grinding between just basically a bunch of grind rails. But I think there's going to be an optimized way of hitting these rails. I also love the fact that this track is based on the very first Donkey Kong, which then, makes me think about like, okay, well, there's like a Donkey Kong continent, if you will, with probably four races tied to Donkey Kong. So as you can see, the character's grinding right now. And I think if you optimize your jumps, you would keep your boost going a bit longer, right? So again, even just hitting that timing so that you're almost chaining your boosts, if you will, kind of like we're seeing right now where they're bouncing between walls. I think there could have been even a better optimized way of doing that, which that again is going to kind of open up that skill gap a little bit. I just hope it's not too wide that um, we see people realize like, oh, I'm not going to be good enough at this. And so even when it comes to matchmaking, I hope Nintendo does a good job of like of making the matchmaking something that's kind of keeps everybody of similar skill levels together so that everybody can have the most amount of fun. Um, Gaming Lover says, with customizations gone, what will our carts be limited to now? So, I mean, from the little bit that we've seen so far, I think I think you're going to find exactly what you want to race with. What is going to really be a factor in all of it, I think, is going to be like how much how much do the stats affect everything, right? But I mean, even like Donkey Kong right there, like he's in what looks like a lawnmower with like horns on the front, and remember they have so many carts to pull from older games that I'm imagining we're gonna see plenty of older carts as well that that are gonna potentially be unlockable. And I mean, just looking briefly at the selection right now, there's scooters, there's bikes, there's what looks like the dolphin that's going to be a boat. The bitty buggy is back, right? And you can see there are lots of different stats there. You can you always want to kind of go for an acceleration build, especially when you're racing online. So there very much could be a meta right off the bat. It's very possible. But my hope is that like I've just been playing Xenoblade Chronicles X, and in that game you get armor, but then you also get like style armor. So you can put on whatever armor you want. If it doesn't match, it's fine because the armor that you see is basically just aesthetics only. And so that's something I've been talking about when it comes to Mario Kart for quite some time. Like, I hope we don't get stuck where everybody's racing the same character, the same kart, and that takes work on Nintendo's part to balance that out. And maybe there's seasons to this game, and those stats change over time. And that would mix up time trials. That would keep people on their toes a bit, if you will. I'm curious if this time around there's going to be like the hidden stat with the mini turbos, because the faster you build a mini turbo, the faster you go. If everybody's on a pretty even playing field when it comes to mini turbos, the differences in karts based on acceleration versus top speed may be just so minute that we don't really notice it, and everybody can end up racing like the exact setup that they want to. I think that's really what it boils down to the most, is I just want people to be able to race whatever they want to and still be viable, right? And I mean, for me personally, right, the pipe frame, Mario, like I'm hoping he's as viable as possible, because I'm going to stick with it no matter what. Now, if there is a meta when it comes to time trials, I may try it out, because at least it's not going to be the small wheels and that kind of stuff. So Nate says, what if you flip over in higher CC races when drifting and not controlling properly? I mean, I don't know if you guys remember this, but in Mario Kart 64, if you moved your stick too much, you could burn out, and you had to tap your brakes and a little music note would come out and you could straighten back out. Same thing happened if you hit a banana peel and you were going straight. You could hit your brake and then line it back up again without having to worry about it. So that's I mean, that would be fantastic. And speaking of CCs, how fast are we going to go in this game? My hope is that we get up to maybe even 500 cc. These tracks are so big. I would love to see just how fast. Now maybe, because there's these longer straightaways, maybe one of the aspects of time trials is drag racing, where you're just trying to get from point A to point B, and it's a straight line as quickly as possible. And so what are you going to do in those instances, right? Are you going to grind? Are you going to try to hit the boost panels as much as you can? Having mushrooms be a factor. But I mean, if the drag racing on the straightaways had like really, really high CC, I think that would be that would be so much fun. Just watching these carts just screaming, going as fast as possible. And I mean, really, the possibilities are endless with what can be done here. I love the fact that they are calling this Mario Kart World. It seems like every stage is kind of like connected in one way or another. And so it like we get to explore the tracks a little bit more than we ever have. And I've taken the time to like drive slowly through the tracks and like see, what do we see, like the different like decorations and the just the way that they've made the tracks look, and the different design choices and whatnot. If you don't stop and smell the roses, if you will, right? There's so much that you won't notice. Well, now with free roam, you get to go and see everything. And it really kind of gives those Breath of the Wild vibe, or the Tears of the Kingdom vibes, where you can like jump from the sky all the way down to the depths, right? Like it's like if you can see it, you can probably drive to it, and that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. So I'm here for it, but again, I want there to be plenty to do when it comes to free roam. Nate says, is it me, or is it weird that both Sonic and Mario have world in the title though? Who's copying who here? It's a great observation, and you can only assume that neither of them knew, that it just happened to be the way it went. And I think the reason for world being in the title for Mario Kart is because of is because of Mario Kart Tour, right? They kind of saw with a name like that, like well, we can go anywhere. And so I think World just kind of like just opens up the possibilities to be able to literally go anywhere and keep adding islands and different tracks to this map. I hope at some point that it ends up becoming a globe. If like the long-term roadmap for this game is that it's a globe, and I would love to kind of traverse the globe with your cart on the outside, almost like a Super Mario World style mini map, and and then just be able to drive to wherever you wanted, almost like fast travel, if you will, and then jump into those races, but also have the ability to free roam. And um and so Nate said, now if they add DLC for other worlds within the game, he said, no fair, I had to type it, you could just say it, right? Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. Totally. And I mean, I've been talking, I think, a lot of content creators and stuff have been talking about the fact that like we want to see like Kirby worlds and Donkey Kong worlds and Samus worlds. I recorded a video before I did this, and my mic was muted the whole time. So I'll have to record it again. But like talking about like, okay, well, if we go to like Metroid World, right? And then you can race as Samus or Metroid or Ridley. Like, I feel like there's kind of hints that they're showing us like, hey, no character is off the table. And, so that being said, you go to a Kirby world and now Waddle Dee is a racer and King Dedede and Meta Knight. And again, with the price tag of this game and everything, my hope is that it includes DLC for quite some time. Right? That there's a continual drip feed of content. I want the hype around Mario Kart World announcements to be the same as the Fighter Pass when it comes to Smash. Right? But I want to see more of a Splatoon style like season and things to unlock as you race, and I can't remember if we talked about it or if it was from my earlier video, because I literally recorded right before I went live. But like to see like the Splatfest style events, where like are you team mushroom or are you team star, right? Similar to how the Splatfest is, where it's like, and then what do you get if your team wins, and how do they make that play out, and then does it put us into like team style racing similar to like what we've done in our community tournaments, where there's team blue versus team red, and your blue shell will only hit red if you're on the blue team, and vice versa. Like they could do some really fun things with the team aspects of Mario Kart, and leaning into that. And then what do you unlock, what do you get if your team wins, who knows, maybe the unlockables come from just participating, and then you get the team mushroom outfit and the team star outfit, or however they end up doing it. Nate says, hit a P block during a race and everyone's cart disappears and you're just running with that old school P block music. Yo, I love it. And we've seen them in the game. When I was watching Thunderstash play, you could see a giant like P switch. Well, what is that going to do? What is that going to open up in the world? Like I'm kind of curious if like, in free roam, if we're going to find areas that are not accessible during races, that you have to do different things to even unlock. And so that kind of gives, and then what's the reward for finding these areas? If you think back to like Super Mario World, when you hit that like what was it, the exclamation point blocks, right? Like the yellow and the red and the blue and the green. It would add those blocks to the world so that you could traverse the levels a little bit easier. So are they gonna lean into, anything that's like Super Mario World related? Like, can we expect to see that stuff based on the name? I don't know. I don't know, but the more creative they get, the better. I'm hoping tomorrow we see more items. We've seen some really cool items, the hammers, um, the the golden shell, the coin block. Like there's some new items. The feather is back, and I put out a video today. I'm I'm 99% sure that you're going to be able to dodge a blue shell if you time that feather correctly. You time that feather correctly, and you actually jump higher than the explosion, and you can dodge it that way. But it's going to have to be pixel perfect from from what it looks like. And we see them try in this treehouse video that I have on as B-roll right now. So that's that's super cool. I don't think the feather has been in the game since the first game. And now it is back. And if you're getting it in first place, it would kind of make sense that you would be able to dodge the blue with it. So Nate says, I can't imagine being the game director for this game. My ADHD would kick in like crazy. We can do this, and oh, we can, and oh, do this too. Yeah. Yeah. No question there. It, I mean, the roadmap would be nuts. They probably had to cut so much out of this. And so and I do love that, like, we just saw like a Goomba in a boot, right? Like they're really leaning into the Mushroom Kingdom, it seems like quite a bit. And so I'm here for it. This is the kind of stuff I want to see. They're really leaning into the first Donkey Kong game. Just so many cool things. The way the hammers are thrown, like I love that. I think probably the most, like, it's not necessarily disappointing, but like the fire flower and the ice flower, there's very little difference. Like the cars spin out the same. You just get ice on you if you get hit with the ice one. But like I kind of hope there's a little bit more to it. Like if you like maybe the have the ice end up in front of the car so that you slide a little bit more. Maybe the fire flower actually sets the person on fire, catch somebody else on fire. I don't know exactly, but like I'm hoping there's a little bit more variety just between those two items because they almost seem a bit redundant at this point. So and again, I think when it comes to items, I think we're going to see new items down the road. I think we're going to see them add different items, tweak different items. Like there's just so much that they can do, like Nate was saying. So Mario Kart PG, yes, exactly. Exactly. And how crazy would that be if the free roam, you start gaining levels, and when you hit different levels, you can access different areas. Like really our minds can go anywhere with this. And ultimately, it's just about having this game have as long a tail as possible. I would love to see items make their way back to this game, like the Tanuki item where you get the tail and it whips around your cart. Like that one, that was fun, and that seemed like an item that was relatively easy to balance. So I'm confused on why we didn't see it come back, but it happens. It's just it's such a great item. I love that the mega mushroom is back and you can get really big. I think that's fantastic. So just a ton of cool stuff. And again, we get 15 minutes tomorrow to see what else is going to be added to this game. And the word on the street is that by the time this direct is over, the $80 price tag is going to be very justified. And Nate says, see what I'm saying? If we were in charge, the scope would be crazy and it would never come out. Here's 8 Deluxe for another 10 years, guys. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. That is very accurate. So very, very accurate. And I'm ultimately so excited for this game. I'm excited for the different modes so that however you feel like playing this game, you're going to be able to play it, and um, hopefully everybody just gets the most out of it. So I will see you guys bright and early. I think Jasmine's going to join me um, for the direct in the morning, which is going to be really cool. And then we're going to talk about it directly following with chat. So if you guys can make it here live, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific, which is crazy. But that's the time. That's the time they're going with, so everybody can kind of get it at a somewhat decent hour. So appreciate you guys so much being here with me live, and we will see you tomorrow for the direct. Have a good one, everybody.